Pastor Jamal Bryant calls an end to the gun violence. Jamal Bryant has had enough. Listen.
There's old wealthy black Atlanta, and then there's new Negro Atlanta. So I think that there's got to be some emerging of an amalgamation of a sense of community and not individual success.
Bryant says the church has a role to play as well. He says along with offering spiritual guidance, churches should be connecting families with resources to help build their futures.
But if a church is only teaching tithing, they're failing. My job at pastor is not to just ask you for the 10%, but to show you how to multiply the 90.
That part. Jamal Bryant, as we said, has had enough. He's charged with helping families rebuild after this kind of violence. Bryant's hometown is Atlanta, of course. His Baptist community has been plagued by violence, highlighted by a recent shooting death. And this one just so disturbing. Gun violence in Atlanta plaguing Black youth, victims becoming younger. A growing chorus of affected families and community leaders seeking solutions say they have had enough. Cameron Jackson, age 15, was a recent victim of Atlanta's gun violence after visiting one of the city's popular shopping plazas. Tiffany Smith told the newspaper her dead son Cameron was the love that brought our family together. Also killed in the November 26th shooting, 12-year-old Zion Charles. Here's Charles' pallbearers carrying the boy's casket, age 12. Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens campaigned on a platform, you may recall, against gun violence, said, quote, "My heart is broken for these families." Pictured here in June, the mayor joined the Wear Orange campaign to protest daily gun violence. Now here's more of what he said. This is a village assignment when 150 kids are outside unsupervised and 3 handguns recovered. There are a lot of factors at play, including parental supervision, easy access to guns, a cultural acceptance of violence, and lack of conflict resolution skills. Cameron's mother, who had hopes for her son to compete as an Olympic boxer. This kid wanted to box and he wanted to be the best. His mother echoed the mayor's speech. Here's what she had to say: creating a village where we support each other, I'd say that's where we're falling short. After her son was killed, Smith started forevercameron.org to raise money, provide mentorship for at-risk youth. Pastor Bryant called on community leaders to move past class divisions to stop the violence, quoting, "We need to be steering financial institutions into helping young Black males into entrepreneurship and wealth creation." Georgia's Republican Governor Brian Kemp signed a bill back in April. And here's what it did. It allowed concealed handgun carry in public without a permit. There's the governor smiling. Georgia Public Broadcasting reported the state granted more than 280,000 permits. Granted, that was in 2020 alone. It denied just 5,300 that year because of a, quote, criminal history. So Ben, you have the mayor of Atlanta, Andre Dickens, the famed pastor, Jamal Bryant, saying, we got to do our part, not just count on the police, prosecutors, or apparently the Georgia governor to do something about the gun violence in our city. The mayor said parental supervision is part of this, which I'm conflicted about because we saw the picture of a heartbroken mother there, no indication that she did something wrong, but her son is dead. What's the most important aspect, do you think? Parental supervision, getting guns off the street?
I think all of it, seems to be a factor, and I think taking action in all of those areas would certainly help, and it definitely wouldn't hurt. But I just get stuck on the insanity of Kemp's permitless concealed carry. I mean, are you trying to create the Wild West, recreate the Wild West? That's the most insane policy I've ever heard. And he says, oh, because criminals are gonna find a way to get guns. It's such a stupid, oversimplified, not accurate way to look at these things. Not all people who grab a gun and shoot somebody in a fit of rage or in a fit of juvenile idiocy is a criminal. Yeah, maybe someone that's planning a life of crime can figure out how to get to the black market and buy a gun out of someone's trunk. But there's people that have, if there's 280,000 new guns and nobody even knowing where they were, you already didn't have to register private sales in most of anywhere in the country, definitely not in Georgia. And the only way they had any sense of who had guns was when you had to apply for the permit to use the gun, to carry the gun concealed out in the world. And now you have people that are legally allowed to carry the gun without anyone knowing they own one, anyone knowing they have one. You don't think kids are gonna get those guns? You don't think people are gonna get their hands on those guns when they shouldn't, and they haven't been trained on them and they don't know what to do with them, how to handle them responsibly, the consequences of them? You're asking for murder. You're asking for innocent death. The numbers are insane. I mean, there were 23 people, 16 and younger, arrested for murder in 2021 in Georgia. 23 kids for murder, and 17 and 21-year-olds, 122 of them arrested for murder and 892 arrested for aggravated assault. This is an epidemic, and it can be stopped by common sense gun laws. Yes, we need to do all of it. We need to, I think parents need to make sure that their kids aren't out at a mall late at night and they aren't getting a hold of their guns either. And there's a lot of things that can be done, but first and foremost, get the guns off the streets.
Nope. Governor Kemp, great state of Georgia, he and others, Republicans, believe there shouldn't be any restrictions. This was Georgia already. You think it was tough to get a gun around here before May? And I'll say this, you mentioned the word epidemic. And remember, it wasn't that long ago that emergency room doctors got together, right? And their organizations and said, this has to be declared a public health emergency. We're seeing the gun violence up close and personal. We're trying desperately to repair the damage when there's these bullets that are shredding people, the firepower alone. They're miracle workers, but that only goes to a certain point. And listen, access does seem, Ben, like that's everything. You say you give a kid access to a great education, he or she can be something, right? You give people access to great health care, they can stay healthy. You give them access to so many guns, unchecked, you're right. It is asking for murder. It's asking for this kind of carnage in the streets. And in this case, a 15-year-old and a 12-year-old boy gone. A lot of slow singing and flower bringing. I'll give you the last word on that one.
Yeah, I think also the pastor's right that I have my own issues with the tithing of 10% being non-negotiable, but I do think that people need to be brought up with the sense of like, let's make life a game to build your wealth from an early age, to build the things that are gonna make you succeed. And those are very important to focus on, and not focusing on, just screwing around until it's too late. But come on, no reasonable person thinks the Second Amendment meant, that one sentence meant that you should be able to have a gun without a permit and without
no limit
shown on your hip. No limits whatsoever. Go out there and just live in the Wild West, even though we're living in modern times. Are we? Doesn't seem that way.
Glorify something else. Life, living, not getting shot and killed with your mother crying, begging, creating an organization for you.